Think about it. There's a really good chance you're using an AT&T service at this very moment. Maybe it's the 5G on your phone or the fiber internet that's bringing this to your screen. They're a huge part of our daily lives, right? So let's take a look at their latest earnings report and see what's really happening behind that famous logo.
But here's the million-dollar question. When a company is that massive, how can you tell if it's actually in good shape? Well, you can think of this earnings report kind of like a report card. It shows us not just if they're making money, but where that money is coming from and, what direction the company is really heading.
All right, let's crack open that report card and check out the grades for the third quarter.
First up, let's hear from the man in charge, CEO John Stankey. He's sounding pretty confident, saying his strategy is working. But do the numbers actually back him up? Let's find out.
Okay, here are the headline numbers. Revenues are sitting at a cool $30.7 billion, with a really strong free cash flow of $4.9 billion. But the real story, the part you really want to pay attention to, is the growth. Mobility services are up, which is great, but wow, look at that consumer fiber revenue. It shot up by nearly 17%. Let's dig into that.
So first, let's talk mobile. In just 3 months, AT&T added 405,000 postpaid phone customers. Now, these aren't just any customers. These are the folks who sign contracts and pay a bill every single month. They're the most valuable kind of subscriber, so that's a really, really solid number. And here's that other standout number we were just talking about, a massive 16.8% jump in fiber revenue compared to last year. This isn't just a small increase, folks. This is the engine that's really driving their whole new strategy.
But, numbers like that don't just happen by magic. Nope, they're the direct result of a very specific game plan. So let's take a closer look at the engines that are powering all this growth. It all boils down to this thing they call the convergence strategy. It sounds a little complex, right? But the idea behind it is actually super simple. Get you to buy both your cell service and your home internet from them. The end goal? To be the one-stop shop for your entire household's connectivity needs by bundling their 5G and fiber together.
So here's the first part of that strategy in action. Like we just saw, they pulled in over 400,000 of those really valuable monthly subscribers. This shows that their core wireless business is the strong, stable foundation that their entire growth plan is built on.
And here's the other piece of the puzzle, the faster, high-growth part, fiber. That incredible 16.8% revenue growth, it's being fueled by adding 288,000 new customers in this quarter alone. And get this, here's the proof that their whole convergence plan is working. More than 41% of their fiber customers are now also AT&T Mobility customers. See, it's connecting.
But it's not all about growth. To really understand the full picture, we have to look at the other side of the coin, the parts of the business that are actually shrinking as they make this huge shift. This slide just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? It's like a tale of two companies within one. On one side, you've got the future, fiber and 5G, and that's all about growth. And on the other, you have the past, old-school copper wires and legacy phone services, which, as you'd expect, are in decline. And you can see that decline right here in the numbers. The business wireline division, which relies a lot on that older tech, saw its revenues drop by 7.8%. But here's the thing. This isn't a surprise to AT&T. This is actually a planned transition. They're actively shifting their focus and their money toward those growth areas. So, knowing all this, how does AT&T speed up this shift to the future? Well, they're not just waiting around. They are placing some absolutely massive bets.
And these are not small wagers, not at all. We're talking multi-billion-dollar moves. First, they dropped $5.75 billion to buy up fiber assets from a company called Lumen, which directly expands their high-speed internet network. And then, and this is the big one, they spent around $23 billion to get their hands on wireless spectrum from EchoStar. Think of spectrum as the invisible highways for 5G signals. This deal gives them a whole lot more road to work with. You don't spend that kind of cash unless you're feeling pretty confident. And that's exactly why their outlook for the full year is so strong. They're predicting solid earnings growth. They're planning to invest over $22 billion in capital, and they expect to generate over $16 billion in free cash flow. Bottom line, they are spending big because they expect to win big.
So we've looked at all these numbers, the growth, the decline, the massive investments. What's the one big idea you should walk away with from all this?
At the end of the day, this whole report tells one simple story. AT&T is in the middle of a huge pivot. It's letting go of its past so it can become laser-focused on just one thing, being the absolute best provider of 5G and fiber connectivity.
The company is betting billions and billions of dollars that you'll want the simplicity and the power of having one company handle all your essential connections. So the final question is, will this massive bet on owning the future of connectivity actually pay off? I guess only time will tell.